Thank you, Bharti, and thank you, Divya, for having me on this program. I'm delighted Mentor My Board is trying to do what you said you're doing, because we seem to be running companies on the basis that you just become a director. You keep progressing from one level to another, and while it is true that anybody who's grown up and adult can become a father or a mother, that doesn't mean that they are competent fathers or competent mothers. You have to do something to become competent at being father or mother. And we all know this from our own experiences. In the same way, just because you founded a company, it doesn't mean you're a director of the company. You're entitled to be. But then you have to do something to learn how to be a director of a company. And that requires some degree of hand-holding. I say some degree because it cannot be taught like in a classroom. But some parts of it can be taught. So, compliments to Mentor My Board, and very important activity. India, most of our companies are family-managed businesses. I think 70-75% is the last I heard. We are very much dependent as an economy on SMEs, MSMEs, startups, and I am not talking to people who are working as directors of Hindustan Unilever or ICICI Bank or Tata Steel. I am talking to people who have become director in a sense because they are associated or started or founded an MSME. And the concept of what is governance has to be very clear in their mind.
So what do you feel will be the skill sets or the attributes which should be actively looked at when we are trying to groom, Mentor My Board is trying to groom or coach? What are the 5 or 6 tips which you would like to give us so that we can concentrate on those particular attributes, not necessarily only skill sets as in, corporate governance or financial literacy or cyber acumen, but these other attributes which are actually way more important?
A board is competent and successful because of collective capability, not individual competence. So I don't want to tell you things like they must be understanding accountancy and law and stuff like that. There is a minimum level, a threshold level of exposure they must have had. And you don't need me to tell you that anybody who's trying to be a director of a company must be able to read a financial statement. May not be an expert on it, may still require help in the intricacies of a company, but should be able to be comfortable with the financial statement. Or if somebody comes and says under section 305, he should immediately collapse saying, okay, leave it to the lawyers, It must be meshing. If somebody speaks a lot because he's got an expertise in marketing,
right,
then to balance it, there must be somebody who's got somebody with production knowledge. Right? So you must have meshing capabilities. If somebody has a very deep view of that industry, say fast-moving consumer goods, you must also have one person who sits back and looks at the world and what's happening in the world. I always say that a good board of directors should have both geologists as well as astronomers. A geologist, if you show him the earth, he'll pick up his axe and start digging. He'll say at 10 feet, 100 feet I hit water, at 1,000 feet I hit iron ore, at 10,000 feet I hit lead. Okay. He wants to know what is inside this. That's a geologist's attitude. If you show an astronomer the earth, he will sit there and stare to the skies. He say, what's there? What are those things twinkling there? What is this earth a part of? They have very different perspectives. Both are looking at the earth. So when you see spaceships, people who went out to space and they give you a picture of how the earth looks in the middle of the firmament, you say, wow, earth is part of a much larger galaxy. It deepens your respect for things like ESG, for example. Whereas if you're sitting here all the time, digging a new well, digging a foundation for a new house, you have a different attitude. So I call them geologists and astronomers. And we are not fully geologists or fully astronomers, but a bit of both. Let's have a good mix of them. And remember one thing, when you are doing your question was about when we are mentoring them, mentor people to their strengths, not to remove their weaknesses.
Yes. Yes.
Because all of us are imperfect.
Yes.
All of us have weaknesses. And it's like coaching a tennis player.
Mm.
At a certain stage of the game, of training, you don't try to improve the backhand further.
Correct.
You try to run around and hit the forehand, even on the backside, on the backhand side, So it's exactly the same with people. If some people are very reticent to talk, don't try to make him into a talkative character.
Yes, absolutely.
But let him be very thoughtful and reflective about the odd comment that he does make. Thank you very much. I value the opportunity. I'm spending a lot of my time now emptying my mind of whatever experiences I've had. And you're offering me a forum to do so. I want to die empty. All my experiences I should have shared with those who wanted me to share it. And when I go, khopdi khali ho raha hai.
Okay. I totally agree.
Your immense knowledge has to reach to millions of people.